It had been a messy day. Katie discovered that when you walk across the kitchen floor with dirty shoes, muddy footprints follow you. Orbie found out that when you drop spaghetti, it covers a lot of the floor. And they both learned that painted hands leave colorful fingerprints on the taps. After lunch, Katie and Orbie went to play in their treehouse. Up the ladder they climbed, but when they reached the top, they discovered that the treehouse was so full of treasures that there was hardly any room for them. There were piles of leaves that Katie had collected from every tree in the park, a box of seashells from their trip to the beach, a bag of marbles that Mrs. Perrette had given Orbie, an alarm clock that didn't work, a stack of magazines filled with pretty pictures, Katie's skipping rope, 4 rubber balls, 4 empty shoe boxes, 1 wooden basket, and Orbie's old drum. Katie and Orbie climbed down the ladder and sat on the ground. They weren't very happy at all. It wasn't much fun having a treehouse if there was no room to play in it. All of a sudden, Katie had an idea. She told Orbie that they should put all their treasures in the garage. Then there'd be lots of room in the treehouse for them to play. Katie climbed back up the ladder while Orbie stayed on the ground below. She picked up the 4 empty shoe boxes and dropped them over the side. Orbie looked up. It was raining shoe boxes. Orbie caught the first one with both hands, but then he didn't have any hands left for the others. He jumped out of the way as one shoebox landed at his feet. He ducked while another one sailed over his head. Luckily, the last shoebox missed him completely because it hit the bottom rung of the ladder and the lid fell off. Katie pushed all the leaves from her leaf collection over the side. Orbie looked up. Now it was raining leaves. He ran around catching all the leaves in the shoebox. Then it started raining rubber balls, and Orbie had to juggle all 4 of them. But he dropped the last ball, and it rolled across the grass toward Bruce, who was there for a visit. He was having a nap and dreaming of giant dog biscuits. The ball hit Bruce right on the nose. Bruce opened his eyes, growled once, grabbed the ball in his teeth, and raced off. Katie shouted at Bruce to drop the ball, but Bruce thought they were all playing a game, so he zigged and zagged and finally ran through the back door and into the house. Katie and Orbie wanted their ball back, so they ran after him. They all made so much noise that they woke up Chance, who was sleeping behind the bushes. She had been up doing cat things all night and really needed a snooze. She flicked her tail and surveyed the yard and decided that the treehouse would be a much quieter place for a cat to sleep. Up the tree she climbed, and choosing the most comfortable place she could find, nestled down next to the big bag of marbles. There wasn't much room, and when Chance stretched out, she tipped over the bag. The marbles rolled across the treehouse floor, bounced down the ladder like a colorful waterfall, and landed in the shoebox that had lost its lid. Dad was mowing the front lawn when Bruce, Katie, and Orbie came running out the front door. Bruce dropped the ball at Dad's feet. Orbie picked it up and tickled Bruce behind the ears as Katie told Dad about moving all their treasures to the garage. Dad was very proud that they were taking responsibility for the treehouse. He told them that making room and moving things was a chore, just like mowing the lawn or washing the dishes. Then he smiled and gave Katie a pigeon feather that he had found in the grass. Katie was very pleased with her new treasure and carefully put it in her pocket. Then Dad patted them both on the head and sent them back to the treehouse to finish their work. At the treehouse, they saw the marbles in the shoebox. Katie looked up and saw Chance peering at them from the top of the ladder. Katie giggled. Orbie tooted in delight. They thought it was very funny that Chance was helping them. But Chance still wanted to snooze, so she jumped down from the treehouse and curled up behind the tree. Katie and Orbie climbed up the ladder. They put the seashells and the big alarm clock inside the basket. Then Katie tied her skipping rope to the handle, and they lowered the basket over the side. Down and down the basket went until it reached the ground and landed with a loud thump. Even though the clock was broken, the alarm started ringing and scared Chance right out of a very pleasant dream. Chance had had enough. She twitched her tail and strolled across the yard and settled down as far away from the tree as she could get. Next came the big drum. Orbie and Katie rolled it down the ladder. The drum hit the ground, kept rolling. It rolled right across the yard toward Chance. Luckily, she wasn't asleep yet, and when she saw the drum coming towards her, she ran for the back door. Now there were only magazines left. Katie and Orbie pushed and pushed with all their might until the stack of magazines teetered on the edge. Finally, they tumbled to the ground and landed with a great big splat. When they looked over the edge, they saw Dad staring at all the treasures on the ground. He could see how much work they had done. He was very pleased and offered to help them carry everything into the garage. Orbie brought the wagon over, and they loaded all the magazines onto it. He put the box of marbles and the basket on it, too. Katie juggled the 3 shoe boxes, trying hard not to let the leaves fall out. In the garage, Dad found just the right spot, and all 3 of them stacked the treasures. Dad told them they would be there whenever they needed them. Later on, Katie and Orbie sat in their treehouse. Everything was gone, and there was plenty of room to move around. It had taken them a long time to carry all the treasures to the garage, but they had done it, and they were very proud of themselves. Katie pulled the pigeon feather out of her pocket. She gave it to Orbie. He placed it in a corner. It was their first new treasure. And one day, you may need to do some cleaning up and reorganizing too. And I just happen to know that if you do, you'll find you have more room for your own new exciting treasures. And I can tell you, there are going to be quite a few.
Did you know? No. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
You can tell a lot about a person by the type of hat they wear. You can tell what kind of sport they play, what kind of job they do, and even what country they're from.